So for the last few months, we've heard Micheál Martin and Simon House. We've heard the whole lot of them pretty much say it over and over again. This word we bust system that it works basically. It functions. The asylum process in Ireland functions. It works. Well, it's quite the opposite. To that. But everybody knew it, and everybody was shouted down as soon as you said this. I said this even 3 weeks ago. Far right extremists. All this was said, but apparently conspiracy theories turn true a lot of the times, unfortunately, in the modern world, in modern Ireland, of course. Because quite literally, the government have said themselves, the government's own reporters warned that they don't know some of the people that are coming in, even if they have fake passports and stuff, they don't know who they are. So they're just kind of letting people in and they don't know who they are. And basically there's no checks done. Because we've seen recently there was a fellow pretty much was banned from going into the United Kingdom. He caused trouble in the United Kingdom and ended up here, and then he committed a serious crime here. And God knows how, because again, it's not like it's the other side of the world. I don't know how the Irish authorities didn't know they were letting this fellow in that was kicked out of another country. It's beggars belief. But yeah, pretty much Simon House, Micheál Martin, as I say, they were bullshitting. And you can see why people are very upset. The wonder, you hear RT in the mainstream media, how is people so upset and protesting and stuff like that? It's because of these things. Like, Irish people know the truth, that the politicians are lying to us. They're telling us porkies, they're telling us lies to our face. They're telling it straight to our face. Irish people can see in reality. If you look around you see in reality what's happening. But the Irish government are telling us a different story in a fantasy world, nearly in a way. But everybody can see the truth, pretty much, that it doesn't, the system is broken to its core. And it's there to be abused, to be totally honest. And there's loads of money being made by hotels, etc., etc. That's what it's all about. It's all about money. And that's what we need to get our head around, that this money, it's not to do with looking after people and that. That's all to do with money, making money for themselves, because the politicians are in on it. They're getting a few bob out of it too, along with their friends and associates, etc., etc. But yeah, so pretty much what people have been saying, what I've been saying too, that pretty much there's not really any checks. What they're saying is there's loads of background checks, fingerprints are taken. But that's all well and good. But when you can't check these fingerprints and all that, you pretty much might as well throw it in the bin at that stage, when you're taking fingerprints and checking people's passports, because you have no access to European databases. So somebody coming from, take for example, the Netherlands or Belgium, commit a serious crime in Belgium, get kicked out of the country, turn up here, the Irish authorities would know nothing about it, and they wouldn't ask no questions about it. This is pretty much what this is telling us, that the Irish government would know, say that fellow committed a serious crime in Belgium, spent a few months in prison, and then was pretty much told to go away from Belgium, and turned up here. The Irish government would know nothing about it, pretty much. And they just kind of turn up. But again, a lot of people get rid of their documents and stuff. It's just a whole mess. The whole asylum seeking process is a mess. That's why nobody should be really coming. At this stage, nobody should be really turning up at the borders of Ireland. Unless they're Irish citizens, of course. That's the only people that really should be. And obviously tourists, of course. But nobody should be coming here to seek asylum at this stage, or nobody should be coming here to move into Ireland at the moment. To be totally honest, because the whole country, you see yourself, look in Dublin at the moment, there's people literally sleeping in the street waiting for 3 or 4 houses at €400,000. Like, it's madness. And to bring more people in every week, it's you're literally insane to do that, to be totally honest. And this is my opinion. Again, you can deny all you want, but it is the reality. We have to wake up to reality, because this is the truth, and denying the truth is not helping anybody, pretty much. And let's be fair. But again, the main issue I have here is politicians have said it time and time again: robust system, a fair, robust system. That was always the talking point, I suppose, in the mainstream media too. There was always robust. It's very works to the core. It works. We can detect everybody. But again, and that's not even the half of it. Like, even if they detect somebody that committed the crime, say in Belgium, take what's up, I was saying, even if they say they have to come into the country to get processed and all that, even if they found it out in the process, they'd be told to self-deport, to pretty much go home yourself. Yes. And then there's no way really known did they leave, because the Gardaí never say how they check this up. Did they physically go around the whole country looking at every house to see is the person inside, or what did they do? How did they find it out? Because it's very easy to disappear if you're told to self-deport. You can go to, say in Dublin, you could just go down the country to Mayo, some part of Mayo in the back end of nowhere, Mayo. And how is the local Gardaí in Mayo going to know that person's there? You get what I'm saying? It doesn't make much sense. When you're put on the plane by a guard, say, forcibly deported, the guard brings you to the plane, and the guard goes with you onto the plane wherever you go, and he goes with you to it, and you're pretty much told to stay in that country. You pretty much can be guaranteed that that person's there, because you put the guard, he literally forced them onto the plane and brought them home, or him or her, or whoever the situation is. But you get what I'm saying. But with self-deport, who says what? That's to be totally answered. And that's the truth. It's to say, we wish we could say, people would do it, and we could trust them to do it, but in a lot of cases they don't do it, let's be fair. And I think the majority of Irish people too, if they're in the United States or something like that, and we're told to self-deport, they probably wouldn't do it either. They'd go off and hide in another part. Let's be fair, because that's just the world it is. Years ago you could trust people on their word, nowadays unfortunately you can't. And that's the sad reality of modern life. Years ago you could trust people with their word, with the honour, but nowadays that's all gone out the window. Honour and decency and respect, that's all gone to hell, unfortunately. But like I've said this millions of times, like I could go on for hours and hours of immigration, because it is the biggest topic in the country, and it goes into housing, it goes into healthcare, it goes into everything in society too. And we can see the angle. You see the angle in every protest up and down the country. In Dublin recently, again last month, we've seen big protests. People are fed up. People are sick of it. And again, the fact of the matter, the worst part of it all is the government's lying to people, saying that this is what's happening, and it's not happening. This basically tells you the truth, that the government's own report, like not from an outside body, but the government's own report, pretty much said that it's not probably being done. Pretty much, that's to put it nicely. That's the way they kind of phrased it. That a lot of it's probably not being looked at, like passports and stuff. And, they're just kind of scanning it and letting them in. And then they just can't find them again. That's the thing. And it's the truth, like honest to God, it is the truth. And I think everybody knew this before. But a few weeks ago we would have been shouted down for conspiracy theorists, etc., etc. But it is the truth. Like, again, this is the mainstream media. This is the government-run propaganda machine, radio, television, sharing. What's a respected name, but nowadays not so much. But they're literally even admitting it themselves. Like they're literally heroes saying it themselves. Like they're literally admitting the obvious. After it took them a long time to get around to it, but at least they're saying it now. But it is the truth, and again, the truth will set us free. But what I'm trying to say is, this shouldn't be the case. I think any sovereign country should be able to find out who's coming in, or not let them in until you find out who the person is. But again, it's the fact of the matter. I've heard time and time again, they're checking everything, they're doing this, they're doing that. But the same fact of the matter is, they're pretty much doing that. To be totally honest with you, in the nicest possible way of saying it, there's not much checks to it, because this shouldn't really be happening. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe and bye.